Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader, and today I have got what is actually my penultimate video. I know last time I said that was the penultimate one, but I was going through the footage of my trip to Staten Island and the Staten Island Railroad, and I thought, do you know what, this deserves a video of its own. So any trip to Staten Island has to include a trip on the Staten Island Ferry, which I very much enjoy. It's one of those trips that I can't believe that it's free and you get to see things like the Statue of Liberty. It's amazing. But anyway, when you get to Staten Island, the main kind of ferry terminal is also the railway station. And the Staten Island Railway is kind of like a self-contained line of the New York subway, but obviously doesn't really run underground. I mean, it goes through, I think, a couple of little tunnels, but nothing major. And what I decided was that whilst I was over there, I would catch one of the trains, do a trip out, just a few stops, and see what I could see. And I really enjoyed the Staten Island railway. Sorry, I've never really been to Staten Island. I've done a trip on the Staten Island ferry, but last time I did it, I literally got on the ferry, went across, got off, turned around, and went back on it again. So this time it was really interesting. Now, if you do decide to go on the Staten Island Railway, there is this really weird kind of anomaly. The fact is that when you go on it at St George's, which is the main terminus, you tap to get on just like you would on the New York subway. But then at most of the other stations outside of the terminus, there are no ticket barriers. So you get on, and then when you get to St George's at the other end, and I think a couple of stops before that as well, they've got barriers, you tap to go out. I think what it does is it means that most of the journeys are between wherever and St George's. So the MTA have decided, you know what, that's where most of our fares happen. We'll pick up the revenue from there. But so as you can see, we're going through one bit of tunnel. Literally, I think this is just about the only bit of tunnel that is on the Staten Island Railway. I did toy with going all the way to the end, but I don't know why I decided not to, and I think with the benefit of hindsight, if I was doing it again, I would do. I kind of did the bit that hugs the coast. So this first bit, and we're going down to Grasmere, which is about 4 or 5 stops. You can, as you can see here, apart from this bit where there's buildings in the way, but you can kind of see the coastline. You can see bits of ferries and boats and all of that kind of things, which I thought was really quite interesting. As we go further on, the line turns inland a little bit, so you don't get that. Now, as ever, filming out of a window, you get quite a restricted view, but it was nice because I was able to see some of the trains go past, as we went through the various stations. Now, on this video, I noticed the line veering off, as you can see at the front, and this goes into the Staten Island Railway's main yard. And so they had a few cars there, but I think the most interesting thing for me, and you can just see them behind this set of cars, these are the Staten Island Railroad's locomotives that they use for engineering work and empty train moves, etc., etc. And they are Jeep rebuilds, I think by Brookville, something like that. Very similar to the ones that are used on Metro North, which we caught a glimpse of in my previous video. And here at Clifton, I think, is the main base. So this is now Grasmere, where I got off. So this is about, as I said, about 5 or 6 stops along. And what I like about it is it's just this island platform. and you've got trains going one way on one side and coming back on the other. Always freaks me out that they run on the different sides. So I went out, had a look. There's a small station building. I don't think there's any staff there. There's no ticket machines or anything like that. You go in, you go down the stairs, and you get to the platform. And basically, one way it goes to Tottenville, which is at the other end, and the other way goes to St George, which is the main terminus. So I spent a little bit of time here just hanging around, taking some photos. It's about a half-hourly service during the day. So, you basically almost every 15 minutes you see a train going each way. Interestingly, under that bridge at the end, and I just managed to focus in, they were doing some work. So I was kind of a bit annoyed that I didn't go all the way down, because I would have been able to see what was happening. So, as I said, the trains, they've got a regular frequency, but we're not talking a proper metro type frequency. So as you can see here, was waiting for the train to go back to St George. You can hear them long before you can see them. It's like that on a lot of railways. So as my train came in, I got ready to go on board and head back to St George so that I could get the ferry back to New York. Again, whilst I was on the train, I did some filming, just at some of the scenery as we kind of went past, and it is a very suburban kind of feel on Staten Island, very different to the other boroughs of New York that I went to. If anything, it probably feels a little bit more familiar to those of us in the UK with the kind of suburbs that we have. So I got back to Clifton, which is where the Staten Island Railway has its main offices, because I wanted to obviously go past that yard again and see what I would be able to see, and hoping that I would get some better shots of those locomotives. I think that was quite important for me. I should have got off here and walked down, because this is all I could see, but if I could have got over to that road on the other side, I would have been able to take photos of those locos, but I know that for next time. So as we came into St George, it's quite a big station. I think that there's a lot of peak hour traffic on the railway. As you can see, it's quite cavernous, and for the size railway that it is, and it as ever, it seems to take a long time to get into the station. There were lots of trains kind of just stabled there. Now, I was on one of the older Staten Island Railway trains. Some new ones have been introduced or are in the process of being introduced, and you could see them. In fact, we will see them in a moment, because I think they're doing some test running. I'm not sure whether they're in revenue earning service. So you saw the front end shots of the older trains a moment ago. This is one of the newer trains that I caught coming into St George's station, and it's like a lot of the New York subway trains. They're very modern, but they still have that. There is a look about New York subway trains. It doesn't matter, where they are or what era they are. They all look roughly the same, and they still have that stainless steel aesthetic that I think most of us associate with stuff from the New York subway and the New York, well, not just New York trains, but I think commuter trains across America. There's a lot of use of stainless steel. I mean, God, you can tell these are new. Look how bright and shiny they are. It's quite an interesting sight. But yeah, these cars, I didn't see anybody on them, and I think that they are kind of in their proving period. But I really enjoyed the Staten Island Railway and spending some time on it, going and doing, some little, doing this little visit. If and when I go back to New York, definitely going to go all the way down to Tottenville and see what's down there. So that's it for this video. As you can see, I'm about to get back onto the Staten Island ferry to head back to New York. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and when the bell comes up, click it, press all, and you'll be notified of all my videos as they are released. If you have any comments or questions, then feel free to either post them below, or you can email me directly on this email address just here. I'm also available on all of these social media sites, so feel free to come and follow me and message me via these. And in a moment, YouTube is going to suggest a video for you to watch. If you haven't done so already, go and take a look. But that's it for me for this video. My name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader, and I will see you next time for what I promise is the last video from my great American adventure. Bye bye.